Well, good afternoon. Live from Texas, this is the Will Cain Show. The fentanyl epidemic, well, it's front and center today at the White House. President Trump hosting lawmakers and families impacted by the crisis as he signed the Halt Fentanyl Act into law.
With this bill, we are officially and permanently classifying all fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I narcotics, meaning anyone caught trafficking these illicit poisons will be punished with a mandatory 10-year minimum sentence in prison. We'll be getting the drug dealers, pushers, and peddlers off our street, and we will not rest until we have ended the drug overdose epidemic.
Last year alone, more than 53,000 people died from fentanyl poisoning, more than 270,000 since 2001. There's a famous quote, most often attributed to Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. One death is a tragedy. A million is a statistic. But each one of those 53,000 represent a son or a daughter, a brother, or maybe a father. And the cause of the fentanyl epidemic is complex and layered. Small towns hollowed out, families torn apart, young men often left in malaise and purposeless. But often, and one of the main contributors, it is the porous southern border. This legislation now is intended to give law enforcement the tools that they need to stop criminals and save lives. But this is also coming as there are gains, positivity, good news on one of those layers, the southern border. In June, border enforcement hit historic levels of enforcement. 2 straight months of 0 releases into the domestic interior of the United States. You can see there in June, 6,072 southwest border apprehensions. During the administration of Joe Biden, at the height of, for example, the fentanyl epidemic, 6,000 border apprehensions a day. Now, 6,000 in 1 month and 0 released for the second straight month. Historic and celebrated today by Vice President J.D. Vance.
I think it's one of the great things that we've done in this administration is we kept our promise that we're going to close down the American southern border, shut off the flow of fentanyl, and start prioritizing American workers over Mexican drug cartels for a change. That is a great accomplishment.
Meanwhile, the left has moved the fight from the border to the domestic interior of the United States. But before we get into that and the fight now focused on ICE, let's take a quick trip down memory lane.
We're examining whether or not I have that power. I would have that power under the legislation when the border has over 500,000 people, 5,000 people a day trying to cross the border because you can't manage it, slow it up. There's no guarantee that I have that power all by myself without legislation.
Amidst the stuttering, the anchor forced to along with that convoluting answer. Let me translate. I didn't have the power to enforce the law at the southern border. Here's a follow-up question. Then how now do you explain the success of President Donald Trump? But the success hasn't come without challenges. 830% increase in assaults on ICE officers since Donald Trump took office. Now compare that to the same period in 2024, and you see that 830% increase. Let's hone in. Let's zoom in on one particular example. We told you last week about the attack on an ICE facility here in Alvarado, Texas on the 4th of July. Yesterday, the FBI arrested a man wanted in connection with that attack. He had been at large. 32-year-old Benjamin Song, 11 days on the run. He's now facing 3 counts of attempted murder of a federal officer and 3 counts of discharging a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence. But all of this, as the fight moves to the interior and the fight focuses in on ICE, not just at the street level, but when it comes to politics, is being explained away on MSNBC as self-defense.
And as we see people being pulled off the streets, you know, the danger to law enforcement, quite frankly, is that when you're masked like that and people don't know who you are, someone might exercise their lawful right of self-defense to protect themselves, thinking they're being kidnapped. So the notion that this is for law enforcement's protection is utterly ludicrous, and we need to do away with that.
Or, in the alternative, on CNN, enforcing immigration law is about uprooting families.
Sasha Mendoza has the impossible task of packing up her family's life in Pittsburgh into a handful of suitcases.
It's really hard to tell a 4-year-old that they can't bring their toys or their stuffed animal. There's just not enough room. We can't put a stuffed animal and then have no pants. I've literally never felt anxiety the way that I have in the last few years here.
So you are saying bye to the U.S. for good?
For good, yeah. Yeah, for good.
Fearful of President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown, Sasha, her husband Julio, and their 3 kids are leaving behind the life they built together.
People that see the world through the lens of empathy, surely there's compassion for ICE agents. No. Sitting lawmaker, Rhode Island Democrat State Representative Enrique Sanchez just said this on Instagram. The Nazi Gestapo ICE thugs kidnapped another of our neighbors in Providence this morning. I am tired of this S. Providence doesn't want ICE thugs in our city. That instance in reference to the deportation of a gang member from MS-13. Now, this is all the kind of thing that Stephen Miller was going after when he joined us yesterday on The Will Cain Show.
I cannot imagine a nobler, a more righteous activity for any American to do than to go into these communities, face off against hostile mobs, and literally free them from the forces of destruction and violence.
While the administration of Donald Trump gains wins along the southern border and begins to address the fentanyl crisis here at home, in our small towns, in the interior of the United States, in case there's any self-reflection, in case there's anyone, say Stephen Miller, who thinks it's not an overwhelming success, well, he has help. He has help from the opinion pages of the New York Times, where the following was an editorial. I was one of Biden's border advisors. Here's how to fix our immigration system. Because that's exactly where anyone would be looking for advice when it comes to enforcing the southern border, from the Biden administration. There's a lot of funny responses, and I don't have to write my own. Just share with you, for example, the response from DHS. I was Humpty Dumpty. Here's how to sit on a wall. A lot of others jumped in. I was captain of the Titanic. Here's how to avoid icebergs. And our new family members, the Ruthless Variety Program, one of their cast members, Comfortably Smug, wrote, and a little bit of shot at one of his co-hosts, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals player. Here's how you win Super Bowls. It writes itself, except when it's written in the New York Times.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.